The MLB trade deadline is just a few days away, so in today's YouTube special only Mets'd video, me and James are going to be drafting 10 players, 5 each, for who we want the Mets to get at the trade deadline. Remember, guys, like this video if you do enjoy it over on the YouTube channel, as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you, and follow us on all our social media at Mets'd, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you know the drill. Last but not least, get in the comment section down below. Let me know who you think the Mets need to trade for this trade deadline. We'll be replying to people in the comments as well. James, I'm gonna give you the start here. I'm gonna let you go first. Pick 1-1. Of course, we're running a snake draft. Where are you going?
Of course, this is not like me because I'm usually the pitching guy in this podcast, and the Mets desperately kind of need some pitching always. But if I have to go somewhere for the Mets to make a trade right now, I want Jazz Chisholm Jr. I want
Wow.
Jazz. I think Jazz is the perfect fit for this team. I think he can play center field. He can play corner outfield. He can play middle infield. He can move around. He's a lefty bat that the Mets desperately need. Jeff McNeil's hot again, so it's not as desperate, but just getting a guy like Jazz who can be under team control in this team for the next few years. You probably have to trade a good bit to get him. We talked about that a few podcast episodes ago. I'm kind of coming around the idea that you said it might take Drew Gilbert to trade for Jazz, but Drew Gilbert's only about 3 years younger than Jazz, and Jazz is basically like a 162 game average 30-30 player in the major league, so it's not really that big of a deal to lose him. Who can play plus defense in center field, like we have proof of that, and can play second base. There's not many players in the league, let alone players on the market right now, that have the same versatility and upside as Jazz. He's the kind of guy where people don't love his personality sometimes. He's a big personality, doesn't respond the best to certain leadership, but we have great leaders here. We have Francisco Lindor, who I know Jazz Chisholm would respect. And he's just the kind of guy who can turn around an entire pennant race. He's that good. He's that talented. He has that kind of flair. And I believe in him in that sense.
Yeah, I had a feeling 1-1 was going to be Jazz. If you didn't take him, I was taking him with the next pick. So that one hurts me a little bit. Jazz has been great and would love him on the New York Mets. So good pick there, 1-1 for you. I'm going to go pitching for my first round pick, and I'm going to shoot for the sky. I'm going to shoot for the sky with these first 2 picks, and then I'm going to get a little bit more realistic as we go. But I think my number one guy that I want Tarek Skubal.
Okay.
Yeah, I want him. Go get him.
Yeah,
Kodai Senga might
sure.
be hurt for a really long time. We don't know what's going on right now, and I'm gonna freak out and overreact in miraculous fashion. That's what we do on the YouTube only videos. We overreact like crazy. And Tarek Skubal, while it's going to take a lot, we're going to say goodbye probably to Jet Williams. We're probably going to say goodbye to maybe Drew Gilbert and maybe a pitching prospect as well. He has been one of the best pitchers in baseball over the last 2 years. I know he has the injury concerns, but if the Mets are really, if David Stern's going in for the kill shot with this team, if they're trying to actually make a real push here, I think Tarek Skubal could be the guy that you're like, whoa, holy shit, the Mets are not playing games. They're not joking around. All those prospects that they got last year, send them back out for Tarek Skubal. We know that's how it works. We know that's what's happening. Give me Tarek Skubal. He's nasty. He's filthy. That fastball's incredible. The slider's unhittable. If there's a guy you want to trade for right now and clear the farm out for, I feel like it's got to be him on the pitching side, right?
Yeah, you want Tarek Skubal on the Mets. I want to date Megan Fox. So, like, there's 2 things that
Okay,
we're going
yeah.
to on this podcast that are incredibly realistic that can possibly happen. No, totally. Yeah, I want Tarek Skubal a lot. I would trade literally every single prospect in the farm system to get him. I'm just scared that the Tigers are like, what are we doing? They're looking around like, why are we trading this guy? We're in the meeting with the GMs and the executives and the analytics staff. Like, why would we trade him? Does anyone have one reason why we would trade him? I think the only reason they even made him available because they were like, let's see if the Orioles give us Jackson Holiday.
Pretty much, yeah.
The Orioles said, we're not going to give you Jackson Holiday. Like, all right, fuck it. We made them available. We tried, but it's not going to happen. So my second pick
Whoa. Snake draft. I still got another pick
I
here.
forgot. Oh, my God.
You relax. You relax.
I got lost in the snake.
Second pick, Garrett Crochet. Give me Garrett Crochet.
double
up on the aces. Garrett Crochet's agent came out and said he's only pitching in the postseason if you give him an extension. And you know what team would give him an extension right now, probably?
The Mets.
The New York Mets. We got the money, baby. Give me Garrett Crochet. He's been disgusting. I know the White Sox have gotten smarter this year, especially on the pitching side. I know James is going to bring up a White Sox pitcher. It's a free pick. I refuse to take it. But I'm going to take the other one, the actually good one, getting Garrett Crochet. He's just been dominant this year. He's simply been one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. He's rocking a 3 ERA in 111 innings, a whip under 1. The fastball is absolutely electric. Everything that this guy does is great, except we just don't know how much longer he can pitch this year. So that will be terrifying, but I'm willing to take that risk. Same thing. Trade the farm for Garrett Crochet. He's only 25. He's nasty.
So okay, I don't just want to date Megan Fox. I also think I might want to date Emily Ratajkowski as well. So
Yes,
I
of
think
course.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah. So I want Garrett Crochet and Terry Schoolball in the Mets, and I want to date both of those beautiful women. But no, I agree with you on Crochet, and I think it is cool that him and his agent came out and said that. If you guys listen to the podcast that comes out Monday, I think we're gonna do our classic media marvels. I think we're gonna mention this because some people had some takes about Crochet refusing to pitch in the playoffs without getting an extension. But he's pitched, I think, 5 total innings in the last 2 years. So I understand him and his agent being like, we're going to add added risk to the rest of our lives without already having our payday. Like, you need to pay us for that risk. And he also had a cool comment about it where he was like, I don't want to stop pitching. If I stop pitching, I have more of a chance for injury. Like, I'm going to
I
start
agree.
until I stop. Once I stop, I'm done, which is, I think that's a really good way to go about it. I think that was a cool move. But so now 2 picks for me. I'm going to go similar, but more boring. I think that I could see the Mets wanting to hold on to some of these prospects more realistically. I could see the Mets now being like, okay, this year is very real. And I could see the Mets needing to quickly respond to the Kodai Senga injury. Because it seems like, again, our hearts could be broken during this video
Yes.
recording. But I think the Mets would be well served to go after the best rental starting pitcher on the market, which I would not have said a week ago. And I want the Mets to get Jack Flaherty.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Jack Flaherty has turned his whole career around this season. Basically, since the Orioles got him last year, the trade deadline, and they were like, hey, you should throw your fastball faster. He was like, that's a great idea. And he's been throwing the fastball faster. He's been missing more bats with it. He still has a really good knuckle curve. He still mixes in a slider. He has a passable changeup. He's mixed in a sinker a bit this year. Jack Flaherty is, truthfully, and it feels weird to say because he's someone I've despised for years just because I think he gets overrated in the national landscape. This year, he's turned all of that around. He's been truthfully one of the best pitchers in baseball and someone who I think can start one of the first games in the playoff series, and you don't feel that bad about it. He has one of the best strikeout minus walk rates in the league. I talked about the fastball improving. The slider's still great. Again, the changeup and the sinker, he doesn't really mix them in very much, but the knuckle curve, he throws against guys on both sides of the plate, and they can't hit it. And yeah, it's just, everything works really well for him right now, and I think he would just be the perfect kind of like bang, that punch market. Like that's a kill shot that's attainable for this Mets team. I think it's something they should really strongly consider.
Yeah, I considered taking Flaherty too, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Have
I'm gonna
fun.
shoot for the skies for the first 2 picks because Flaherty really would be an awesome stopgap right now, and
Mm-hmm.
I think you could throw him the qualifying offer at the end of the year.
I think you also can. I don't know. I don't think you're allowed to throw it at like maybe you can throw as many of them as you want, but I also think he's someone who would super deserve it, just like Luis Severino. It's like it's basically the same thing as Luis Severino.
It
He's just
is.
pitching better, but right now it's American League Central Luis Severino. But next pick, I think this might be a favorite among Mets fans. I want Jesse Winker. It's a
Ooh,
lot. It's a long time coming. We've been playing footsie with Jesse Winker for 5 years now, and he's finally good enough where it warrants him coming to this team and being a piece that we need. He's a lefty bat that the Mets need. He's a corner outfield stopgap on a rental deal because we don't know what the deal is with Starling Marte, and Drew Gilbert is not quite ready yet. He might be in 2 weeks, but he's not quite ready right now. Winker's having a complete renaissance this year, a full resurgence. He's been one of the best hitters on the national scene that's hit better than everybody expected. He's back to his old ways of not chasing anymore. He's walking a ton. He's getting to power. He's not that great of a defensive outfielder, but I mean, we have a good defensive outfield anyway. We can hide him. And even though he's not a good defensive outfielder, you can stick him in left field. He has a cannon for an arm. It all works out really well. I think Jesse Winker playing in this lineup, hitting 5th or 6th against righties would kind of transform us, give us another run producer, another guy who can put the ball in the gap, get extra base hits. He has something like, I want to get the number right now. I think it's like 30 extra base hits already this season. He has 29 extra base hits already this season. It's a high number, and Jesse Winker takes a good at bat. 375 on base percentage. That's crazy.
that's
He
really good.
plays a lot. He's played 100 games. He's 375 on base percentage with 800 OPS. So give me Jesse Winker. I think he's a great fit right now instead of having Ben Gamble or DJ Stewart on the roster every game.
Yes, Jesse Winker would be awesome. He definitely would be an improvement on either of those 2 guys there. Honestly, could even be an improvement on starting Marte in the short half
Maybe
season
would,
that's left.
yeah.
So like that's a very good pick. He was on my list as someone that I was going to take. So with my 3rd pick, I'm going to keep it in the outfield and shout out to the Mr. Softy himself, Mike Puma,
Mm,
breaking
mm,
news. Mike Marino as well, breaking the news too that the Mets have been interested in a reunion with one Michael Conforto. I'm going to put Michael Conforto
mm.
on this list. I know we've talked in the past before about Mets fans need to get over like the reunions with these players. We were talking about like everyone's like, oh, bring Justin Turner back. Let's do this. Let's do that. Where's Aaron Loop? Let's get him back. The thing is, Michael Conforto's actually good, so we would like to bring him back, and he's done some really good things with the Giants this year. The walk rate, I know the numbers for the full year are not great, but he was hot for like the last month before
Yeah.
coming into the All-Star break.
You didn't
And
believe me. I told you he was.
yeah, I know. And then I looked at the numbers and I said, "Oh my God, you're right. He has been good." And you know what would rejuvenate him even more? Little playoff push back with his boys, back in Queens with the Queens faithful. Yeah, give me Michael Conforto. I think he'll also be really cheap too. I can't imagine you'd have to give up almost anything to get Michael Conforto, especially now with the Giants talking about trying to move some players.
Truthfully, and this is going to sound crazy to the regular listeners of this podcast, it would be cute as fuck if Mike Conforto came back to this team.
It'd be so
For
cute.
him, for him to reconnect with Pete and Nimmo and McNeil, get all these guys
One
back
last
together.
ride.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come back in. Like, let's do 2019 the right way. Let's do what was supposed to be done, just with a significantly better group of players around us.
And
And play.
also, like, I would prefer Jesse Winker. I can't pick Jesse Winker because James took him. So
That's why it's a snake draft.
yeah, this is a snake draft. I have to pick a left-handed bat for the outfield because that's clearly somewhere we need. And to me,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Conforto is probably the next best one available after Jesse Winker. Might also cost a little bit more. Might be able to make an easier trade. The Nationals might be like, hey, Mets, not trading with you. Fuck you.
It's also we talked about this a little off air, and I would love the Mets to shoot for the moon and maybe get like a better outfielder, maybe a
Like
Taylor
Luis
Ward or a
Robert.
Brent Rooker, Luis Robert. But I think that Robert kind of works, but I think we might have shot for the moon too much. But the Mets are paying so much money to Starling Marte and Jeff McNeil next year. Like those two guys combined are making over $30 million. So it's hard to bring in another guy who does similar things to what they both do. That's why I guess Robert makes sense. Same with Jazz because they can play center field. Now center field's handled
Well,
in
Luis
20,
Robert is an elite center fielder. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so center field is handled in 2025, but I think it does change their equation a little bit. I think Jazz only makes sense just because he can mix in the middle infield a little bit. But
Yes.
so my last two picks,
I have another pick.
I
You
keep
are
getting
jumping
lost
the
in the
gun.
snake. Why am I
This
doing
guy,
this?
snake draft rookie over here. It's like he's never done 100 fantasy drafts a year. He doesn't know how the snake
I
draft
know.
works all of
I'm
a
getting
sudden.
too excited.
Getting too excited. All right, I'm gonna go. Oh man, where do I want to go with this next pick? This one's a little bit. I'm gonna go to another bat. I'm gonna go to the infield, and I'm gonna say Brandon Lau. I want
Hmm,
Brandon Lau. I think in terms of a backup infielder, I think he could be
it's
and
been
just
hot.
platooning with Jose Iglesias as well. I think at the end of the day, we have to understand that what we have with Jose Iglesias is a spark plug. He's not. He just can't. He can't be this good for the entire year. He can't. He can't keep getting away with this. That's kind of how it goes. I think he has like 3 walks on the year and like 170 plate appearances. Doesn't make any sense. But Brandon Lau's been getting hot. Good power bat and just a little bit of a wrinkle here too. He can also play corner outfield.
You
I don't
can.
know how good it is, but he can play corner outfield. The Rays felt comfortable enough with him
Hmm.
getting some reps in left and right field before in the past. And to me, I think Brandon Lau would be great in City Field. Get that left-handed swing. He's playing hot. I'd love to see him here as another option. He's a free agent at the end of the year too. Again, can't imagine he's going to cost much either.
No, I don't think so. I think that was a good little sneaky pick. I had them on my board. I didn't think either of us were going to go there, but that's nice. And the Mets do kind of need just a batter on this team. Like we
Yes.
just every single day again, like Ben Gamble sitting on that bench doing nothing
No,
because the
he
Mets are
doesn't
like
even
we don't.
play,
That's what I'm saying. Like they don't even think he's good enough to get in the game, but he's good enough to be in the game. And DJ Stewart still starts 2 or 3 days a week, so we
which is a
just
lot.
probably need to find a way to mitigate that if we want to have a kill shot and really push our playoff chances. So I got my last two picks here. I still got two because I've only made three.
Yes.
I'm gonna do something I don't often do with the reliever market, and I am going to shoot for the moon. And I think that it might be worthwhile at this point for the Mets to go for Tanner Scott.
I like
I
that. I
I
considered
don't
it.
I don't think the Mets will do it. I think it's much more likely the Mets shop in the Chad Green, John Brebbia market, Eric Swanson, Drew Smiley, Carlos Estevez, those guys. But Tanner Scott right now is pitching like the best reliever in professional baseball. As of Wednesday, I think he got into the game last night. I'm not sure how he resolved, but he had gone it's something ridiculous. Like I think it's over 10 or 11 innings without allowing a hit, and I think 16 outings without allowing a run. His fastball has been around 99 miles an hour for 3 straight outings. Usually sits 96, 97, so he's doing something right now. He hasn't allowed a hit in 11 consecutive outings. 11 outings, he has not allowed
Really good.
a hit, not even a run, a hit. He went to tread in the offseason. He got more ride and more carry on his fastball. 99 from the left side with carry is nothing like in professional baseball. He's the best reliever on the market. He's one of the best players on the market because he's like that good of a reliever. His ERA is 1 on the year. His WHIP is under 1. It's a devastating option. It's something that would truly transform the Mets bullpen to being a pure weakness into almost a strength.
Yeah, there's not many impact arms that the Mets could get in the bullpen. He would be one of those.
Yes, it would be major one of those. And then last pick, Mark knows it's coming. It's the prodigal son returning home. My offseason has been fulfilled this year with the Mets finding their way into Ryan Stanek over the weekend as a trade piece, but Mets need a starting pitcher. The Mets need a cheap option for 2025. Bring me Eric Fedde. I want Eric Fedde on this Mets team. Eric Fedde has turned himself into a very successful major league pitcher. His ERA is under 3. Did you know that, Mark? Did you know that his ERA
Dude,
is under 3?
I actually don't care about the ERA stat anymore.
Yeah, of course not. I taught you not to. But his cutter is solid. He uses his primary pitch. He mixes in the sinker. His slider is very good. His changeup is very good. He has a 3-4 pitch mix against hitters from both sides of the plate. He commands it well. He doesn't walk people. We can bring him to the cavernous grounds of Citi Field with our wonderful defensive outfield, with our wonderful defensive infield. Eric Fedde is literally, you don't want to hear it, he's perfect for this Mets team. And you know what? He'll pitch this year. He'll pitch next year. He's going to pitch so well. After that, we give him a 9-year extension. And then 15 years from now, you and I are at Citi Field and Eric Fedde's number goes into the rafters.
If
Eric
Eric,
Fedde, bring him home.
all right, if the Mets trade for Eric Fedde, which I think is super in the realm of possibility, he is the David Stern starting pitcher. I talked about on the
He
last
is. Wade
episode.
Miley.
Wade Miley, he's fucking right-handed Wade Miley, and he's gonna make me sick to my stomach. But I'll say this right now: if the Mets win a World Series, Eric Fedde is on the New York Mets. I might get a Mets. I'll get a tattoo or something like that.
Yeah, Fedde tattoo.
Okay.
Fedde on Fedde.
I'll
Fedde
get
on
like a
Fedde.
I'll just get fettuccine Alfredo somewhere, like that dude on me. I'm not gonna get his name. That's crazy, but like I will get something Eric Fedde related. We could probably find a way where he could choose what the tattoo is.
We could definitely find a way into that. But also, people forget the Mets were super into Fedde in the offseason. He
I
wound up
know.
signing with the White Sox because they had less pitching depth and gave him a more defined role because this Mets team, we've had such amazing starting pitching all year. But everything is aligning. We're ready for Fedde.
I will be sick to my stomach. I still can't get around on, on Eric Fedde. I can't do it. I can't do it. I've seen him pitch for the Nationals too many times. I know he's a different pitcher, but until I physically see it happen for the New York Mets, I will be uneasy. I will be queasy.
I'll be bumping Playboy Cardi and Maxo Cream, Fedde on Fedde.
All right, my final pick here. I'm going to go to the bullpen because I have not yet taken it, and we do need bullpen. And you know what? I'm going to shoot for the moon, too. You shot for the moon in the bullpen. I'm going to shoot for the moon in the bullpen. Get me what I think could be Addison Reed 2.0. A little bit of craziness in him. Give me Pete Fairbanks. Give me Pete Fairbanks. I want him. There's a clear thing that I love trading for Rays players, and it seems like they're selling, and it seems like their asking price is not nearly as high as we thought it would be on some players. They're just like, money, get it away. We want no money. We don't want to spend any money on anybody anymore. And Pete Fairbanks is getting paid money. And he has been just like, he has pretty crazy stuff. He has a fastball that can touch into the 100 miles an hour or into the top 100s. He's pitched in the playoffs before. He's pitched in big games. He's a 3.19 ERA this year, and he hasn't even been as sharp as he has in the past. But I just love how crazy he is too.
He also had the unreal tirade early in the year where someone was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "I sucked." You want to hear how I sucked? You want to hear the degree I sucked? I really just sucked. And since then, he's actually been quite good. So it's funny that he's such a psycho. And we just got Ryan Stanek just before we recorded this Friday night. And Ryan Stanek is also an absolute psycho. You guys are going to see Ryan Stanek be insane. He looks like a Metallica roadie when he pitches on the mound with the hair and the beard, just screaming at everything. I'm sure he loves Metallica. I'd love to ask him that one day if we get the opportunity. But I want some more psychos in this bullpen.
Yes,
and I think Fairbanks perfect.
Fairbanks, he's got the crazy eyes that pop out of his head. Like he's a nut job, and he's owed $3.6 million next year. Then there's a team option for $7 million a year after that, and you know for a fact the Rays would never take that at 32 years old. I'd love for Pete Fairbanks to be the setup man to Edwin Diaz for the next couple seasons. Sign me up all day.
Peter Fairbanks, Ryan Stanek, Phil Maytime, David Stern is building a bullpen on the fly. Yeah, we just did the Rays thing all over in front of our eyes. But a couple honorable mentions. Similar to Fedde, Kyle Quantrill developed a new splitter this year and has helped him be actually acceptable in Coors Field, which is an unbelievable feat. He's also very cheap for next year. I think the Cubs want to get out from Jameson Taillon's contract, and he's due money, I think, for like 3 more years. But he's an acceptable starting pitcher who has a lot of weapons, who's pitched in New York, who has just talk about a dog. Jameson Taillon's a major dog. He beat cancer and Tommy John twice, and he's still pitching well in the major leagues. He's a monster. Yusei Kikuchi is another good rental on the market, but he's much more erratic and chaotic than Jack Flaherty. I feel like Yusei Kikuchi might not ingratiate himself to the Mets fans with a couple of these bad starts.
Fun fact about Yusei Kikuchi, too. I think he basically only sleeps when he's not at the baseball field.
Yeah.
Might be tough
apparently
in New York
14 hours a day, yeah. We have to put them up really high, 47th floor.
Yeah. Or just stick them in quiet Long Island.
Yeah, exactly. And then Other options, I think Brandon Drury would be fun as a coming home piece. He reminds me of the Kelly Johnson acquisition from 2015 as utility infielder who might not be playing his best baseball, but you put him in a pennant race, and I feel like he could suddenly play a lot better. And then just I think Mark Canha would be hilarious.
Yeah, Mark Canha would be another funny, like, bring him back home,
Yeah,
bring him back to where he belongs. Mark Canha is also immaculate vibes. We love Mark Canha.
Twitter would light on fire.
Twitter would literally light on fire, and it'd be great. But guys, that's pretty much it. Let us know who you think won the draft down in the comment section below. It's probably going to be me because I just picked cooler names, but James picked good ones too. James is the realistic guy. I go crazy into Derek Skubal and Garrett Crochet. So
Yeah,
let us know who you think won in the comment section. If not, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the content. And we will catch you guys on the next episode coming out after the Brave series. Peace out.
peace out. See you guys soon.